Hello and welcome to another video. Today we'll be taking a look at one of the most widespread foods ever to come out of Mexico. And no, I'm not talking about tacos. The Caesar salad was invented in Tijuana around the year 1924 by a very international restaurateur named Ceasar Salad. And it's spread throughout the world. It's well known as being these really nice crunchy leaves of romaine lettuce smothered in this dressing with lemon, anchovies, and garlic. So we'll be taking a look at this. We'll look at how to make the croutons, how to make the dressing, and then finally how to put everything together. So let's talk ingredients. Now, this is a fairly complex salad with a lot of moving parts, so we have a lot of ingredients. I'm going to go through the different pieces as well as what you can do with them and things like that. The first, let's talk about croutons. Croutons are going to be made out of bread. In this case, I'm using sandwich bread, although it works better if you have like a nice heavier country style bread. Olive oil. Those are the two ingredients on the croutons. You can add a little bit of salt or some spices if you like. Then let's talk about the salad dressing. The salad dressing will consist of eggs, lemon, garlic, anchovies, olive oil, and vegetable oil. Here I have rapeseed oil. Then once we have those together, we'll put it on a bed of romaine. And this romaine mini Romana salad is really good because we will use whole leaves the whole way down. And we will shave some Parmesan on top. I've decided in this case to garnish it with some chicory. Although in a restaurant you'll never see chicory as part of the salad. It still can be kind of used to provide kind of a little bit of contrast on the plate, or some other things maybe outside of the direct salad itself. So first for the croutons, I've taken basically 2 pieces of the sandwich bread. You can always make more croutons than you want to use; they will keep very nicely. And I'm going to tear it into little pieces. The reason I'm going to tear it is that if I tear it, I get a rougher edge along the side, and this will make sure that it holds the dressing better. So I'm going to tear it into these little pieces, and then I'm going to add olive oil and mix it in, and then we'll put it in a baking sheet. And from the baking sheet, we will then bake them, toast them until they're nice and golden brown. So I have that there. Now let's go ahead and start adding a bit of olive oil and mix it around. I think it needs a bit more than that. Yeah, I think that looks about right. Now at this point you could add like some garlic powder or lemon pepper or whatever you want to add. But until that point, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. Basically we're just going to add these over here, and we're going to put them in the oven. Fahrenheit, it's about 375. Celsius, it's maybe 160. We'll put those in for 10 or 15 minutes until they are nice and golden brown. So here I have my 2 cloves of garlic and my 6 anchovy fillets. And so I'm going to start, basically, I'm going to start chopping the garlic. And in the first round, of course, I only slice it like this. And then after I slice it, I'm going to mix it in with the anchovy fillets, and I'm going to chop them together. And to this, I'm going to add a pinch of salt. And I will just chop this until it's pretty finely chopped. So first, sorry about the ringing of the bells there in the background, but in the meantime, the next step is going to be to pound this mixture. Now, if you don't have like a mortar and pestle, definitely don't use like an Indonesian grinding stone, because then it will smell like fish forever. But if you don't have a mortar and pestle, you can take like a jar and you can just mash it like that. And you don't hit very hard. As with the grinding stone, it's an up-down motion. And it just takes a little bit of work, and we will create a paste out of these ingredients. You can see already how that's mashing together very nicely. And there you have the garlic anchovy paste. So now we're going to take this garlic anchovy paste and we're going to put it in a bowl where we'll make our dressing. And as with a lot of whisked sauces like mayonnaise and stuff, it works much better in a round bottom bowl like this. So I'm going to put this here. And once this is all in, I'm going to just take this. I'm going to add 2 egg yolks, and then I will start, and a little bit of mustard, and then we'll go from there. So to this we will add just a little bit of mustard. In US measurements, it's like less than a teaspoon, maybe 1/2 to 3/4 of a teaspoon. And that's plenty. We're going to add about maybe juice of the larger half of this lemon here. Maybe we'll add both. Yeah, I'm going to add the juice of 1 whole lemon here. And then I'm going to add 2 egg yolks. So I've gone through, I've fished out any seeds, and now I'm going to add my 2 egg yolks. You can always save the egg whites for meringue. Oh crap, that was a whole egg. Oh well, I guess it will just be a slightly different dressing. I'm going to spoon out as much of that egg white as I can. Do that by separating that out there. Problem with egg whites, they clump together like that. So I'm going to spoon out as much of this as I can, and then we'll come back. So there, I got rid of the egg white by basically turning it to the side and scooping it out. Now I've taken a dish towel, dish rag there, and I've put it under this so that it's a little bit at an angle. And I'm going to start by whisking all of these ingredients together. Now the egg whites, no, the egg yolks and the mustard are both emulsifiers, and that will become really important as I start to add the oil. Okay, now this is a little bit, I'm going to move this dish rag over here and just whisk like this. And now comes the hard part. I'm going to start by adding just a little bit of a drop or a couple of drops of olive oil. And I'll whisk this in. And what I need to happen is I need this to emulsify. That means that the lecithin in the egg yolks is going to bind to the oil and also to the lemon juice. And that's going to help this sort of stay as a single liquid instead of the oil floating to the top. So you can add a little bit, you can drizzle a little bit in drop by drop through your balloon whisk like this. I find that a little difficult being left-handed, so well, let me try again. Yeah, that was a little too much. And inspecting this, this looks pretty well emulsified so far. Once I've got about 2 tablespoons of this in, I'm not quite sure what that is in metric. Let's say 3 or 4 mil, or let's say, I don't know. I'll do the conversion later and mention it. Then it's time to start adding the other oil. Now, in this case, I like a fairly fishy dressing, so I'm actually going to use the leftover oil from the anchovies. So between those two oils, the anchovy oil and the oil here, I'm going to add about 100-150 milliliters. That's like a third to half a cup of oil. And I'm going to make sure this is all nicely in. Now, if you want to at this point, we're going to find that as this continues to emulsify, it actually thickens up and it becomes a lot thicker. Now, if you want to at this point, you can add some grated Parmesan cheese to the dressing. I don't do that. I like to add shaved off Parmesan at the top. And I'm going to taste this now. That's pretty good. So I'm going to set that aside. There is our dressing. So now it's time to assemble the salad. Normal notes about cleaning leaves. You can see from the previous videos. Again, one of the interesting things about the Caesar salad is one of the best ways to do it is just with these whole leaves of romaine. So you'll start with like a romaine heart and then basically put all the leaves together. And these provide a really nice texture. We use romaine because of the texture and the flavor. But it's a different, it's a different experience eating this sort of lettuce than it is some of the others. So use these heart leaves from the romaine. Basically, just kind of toss them together so that you have something like this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some croutons in there. I'm going to take these, I'm going to put them on top in a bowl. So now I know I have the right amount. And I'm going to start dressing it, and then I'll finish the assembly. So I'm going to start by just ladling some sauce, some salad dressing in. And then from there, I'm going to just stir it with my hands a bit. It's always good to work on a very clean counter, so if something escapes your bowl. And this requires a little more sauce than some of the vinaigrettes. So I'm going to just... And then I'm going to put this in here, trying to get the croutons to some extent, not all just concentrated on the bottom. So here we have the basic salad, and now I'm going to shave the Parmesan cheese on top. So the easiest way to deal with the Parmesan cheese is actually just to get a vegetable peeler and chip some of it off the top. Now, this is not a very heavily aged Parmesan. It probably would be better with a sharper one, but this will work. You can always put the Parmesan on top, let it kind of move around, and so you kind of have a decorative bit to the top. And finally, I'm going to take a few chicory leaves, and I'm just going to garnish it with these chicory leaves. Or something. Just something to add a little bit of class to the plate there a little bit. And here we have it. The Caesar salad. Now, I overdid these croutons just a little bit. They would be better if they're not quite as well done, but they're still okay. I think I cooked them for like 15, 16 minutes, 17 minutes instead of 10 to 15. So. And here we have Mexico's most famous food that you've never heard of, or that you've never associated with Mexico. And we have these wonderful large leaves coated with this delicious dressing and mixed with Parmesan croutons, and sometimes topped with an entree like chicken or shrimp. This is an absolutely delicious salad, and I hope this inspires all of you to try to actually make it from scratch. And that's the Caesar salad. Now, there are some variations that you can make, but first, one obvious note. If you're going to make your own Caesar dressing, of course, you could start with a mayonnaise if you don't want to use raw eggs or you don't trust your egg yolks. If you do trust your egg yolks, or if you do use raw eggs, please make sure that you do get them from a source that you trust. Here in Germany, I think they're very good, as in general in Europe. In the US, many places they're okay. But again, just pay attention to that. There's an important variation that sometimes you'll see, in that people will turn it into an entree salad by putting some meat or something on top. You can put chicken, shrimp, other sorts of things. If you do that, typically what you'll do is, put that in the oven, maybe with the croutons. And when you get done with that, you can maybe put it in the freezer briefly to chill it down, maybe douse it with a little bit of salad dressing. But yeah, this is a great salad. And you can put all kinds of things on the top, particularly, I think, shrimp, chicken, some sort of lighter meat like that. Hope you enjoy it. As I say, bon appetit. If you have questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. Thank you, and have a good one.